Emma Thompson led a humble existence, yet her spirit was boundless. At 28, she toiled through long shifts as a waitress at a charming diner nestled in the corner of a lively city street. The rewards were scant, and the labor was grueling, yet Emma discovered delight in the small moments, exchanging smiles with familiar faces, discreetly adding extra pieces of pie to plates, or assisting an elderly customer with their groceries to the car. Her kindness extended far beyond the diner. During the weekends, she dedicated her time to a nearby shelter, providing meals and lending an ear to the stories of those who had faced difficult circumstances. Even with her paycheck barely enough to cover rent and groceries, Emma consistently discovered ways to contribute to others. Her grandmother used to say that it's not about the quantity of what you possess. It's all about how you utilize it. On a frigid winter night, as Emma finished her exhausting shift, the sharp wind pierced through her light coat. Snowflakes danced around lampposts, creating soft halos of light on the empty streets. As she strolled home, her breath escaping in frosty puffs, something captured her attention. A solitary figure crouched beneath the looming shadow of a nearby bridge. With careful steps, Emma noticed a delicate figure swathed in worn blankets, his shoulders trembling fiercely in the cold. His visage was haggard, his hands battered and cracked from the biting chill. A wave of compassion washed over her heart. She simply couldn't turn her back and leave. Without a moment's pause, Emma pivoted back toward the diner. Within the cozy confines of the cafe, she placed an order for a steaming bowl of soup, accompanied by a hot sandwich, depleting the last remnants of her cash. With a deliberate motion, she let her scarf fall away and stepped closer to the man once more. "Here," she murmured gently, extending the food and scarf. "It seems this would benefit you more than it would me." The man looked up, surprised, before taking her gifts with shaking hands. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice gravelly yet heartfelt. At that instant, Emma was unaware that her small gesture of compassion would ignite a series of events neither of them could foresee. Unbeknownst to her, the man she had assisted was far from just another lost individual. He was a figure who once possessed half the city. The man beneath the bridge presented himself as Mr. Harrison, yet his tone carried a sense of caution, almost reluctance. Emma perched next to him on the frigid pavement, paying no mind to the delicate snowflakes landing on her hair and shoulders. She hesitated to impose, yet there was an undeniable pull in his expression, a subtle sorrow reflected in his gaze, that compelled her to remain. "You don't have to stay here with me," Mr. Harrison said after a moment, his voice barely rising above the wind. "I haven't been very social lately." Emma offered a gentle smile, dismissing his remark with ease. "The air is biting with cold. I would prefer to stay by your side than allow you to endure the cold solitude." Her warmth appeared to ease his demeanor. Gradually, he started to reveal bits and pieces of his narrative. He recounted a life that had once brimmed with abundance, achievement and kinship, yet had come undone following a heartbreaking calamity. "I lost everything that mattered," he admitted, his gaze fixed on the fractured concrete below. "And when everything crumbled, I found myself unable to confront the task of starting anew. I decided to go." He waved his hand dismissively at his worn-out garments and improvised sleeping arrangement. "This is what remains." Emma absorbed every word, her heart aching for the man standing in front of her. While she may not have completely comprehended the extent of his suffering, her familiarity with loss allowed her to connect with him on a deeper level. Her father had died when she was just a child, leaving her mother to navigate the challenges of raising her on her own. Life had presented its challenges, yet they discovered resilience within one another, and through their acts of kindness towards others. "I'm truly sorry for everything you faced," Emma said softly, "but perhaps taking small steps could make a difference. This evening you graciously accepted my scarf and the meal I prepared. That's a step in the right direction, isn't it?" Mr. Harrison observed her intently. His gaze was keen, yet softened by appreciation. "Most individuals wouldn't spare a second look for someone like me," he whispered. "There's something unique about you, Emma." She shrugged with a hint of shyness, feeling a flush of embarrassment at his compliments. "I simply strive to act with integrity." Moreover, every individual is worthy of compassion, regardless of their circumstances. Their dialogue unfolded, punctuated solely by the faint echoes of far-off vehicles. Emma shared with him her experiences at the diner, her dedication to volunteering at the shelter, and her aspiration to eventually establish a community center to support those in need. Mr. Harrison sat in silence, his occasional nods suggesting a rekindling of a once familiar connection to the essence of humanity. As the last bite of food disappeared and the chill in the air intensified, Emma hesitated before rising to depart. "Please make sure to look after yourself, all right?" she said, gently resting her hand on his shoulder. "If you ever find yourself in need of anything, be it food, clothes, or something else, know that I'll be here for you." Mr. Harrison nodded, his face a mask of inscrutability. As Emma strolled away, she cast a fleeting look over her shoulder and noticed him gripping her scarf with fervor, as if it represented more than mere warmth. The following evening, fueled by worry, Emma made her way back to the bridge carrying another meal and a set of sturdy gloves she had purchased with her leftover change from tips. To her great disappointment, Mr. Harrison had vanished. He had vanished completely, leaving behind no blankets, no evidence of their fleeting bond. A heavy weight pressed down in her chest. Had he progressed? Was he out of danger? Unbeknownst to Emma, her simple gesture of goodwill had already begun to unravel an extraordinary chain of events. Little did she know Mr. Harrison was far from an ordinary homeless man. He was a wealthy individual who had turned his back on his riches long ago. Now, fueled by her selflessness, he felt prepared to take back a fragment of his past, not for his own sake, but to pay tribute to the woman who illuminated the inherent goodness of humanity. As the weeks drifted by, Emma found herself unable to escape the lingering thoughts of Mr. Harrison. During her walks home, she frequently caught herself looking toward the bridge, half hoping to spot him huddled there once more. Yet he vanished without a trace. Despite her efforts to push it aside, a lingering thought nagged at her. Was he safe? Had he discovered a place to rest or encountered someone willing to lend a hand? On a brisk morning, while Emma poured coffee for a gathering of construction workers at the diner, the bell above the door chimed softly. A man in a tailored suit strode in, the sound of his gleaming shoes echoing on the tiled floor. He stepped up to the counter, extending an envelope that bore Emma's name inscribed with careful precision on the front. "This is for you," he remarked, his tone both formal and inviting. "It comes from a client who prefers to stay unnamed." Emma furrowed her brow, perplexed. "Is this for me? Is it possible that this is an error?" The man offered a subtle smile. "There is no error. Take a moment to read it when you can." With a swift motion, Emma tucked the envelope into her apron pocket, brushing it off as mere promotional material, or possibly a letter that had found its way to her by mistake. Yet as the evening wore on, her curiosity began to take hold. In the solitude of her modest apartment, she took her time to open the envelope, gently unfolding the lone sheet of paper contained within. Her breath hitched as she perused the contents. An invitation arrived, calling for a meeting with a lawyer, about a pressing issue concerning an anonymous benefactor. The correspondence was concise yet professional, encouraging her presence at the meeting set for the upcoming week. A wave of anxiety surged within her. What might this be regarding? As the day dawned, Emma approached the address with a mix of anticipation and anxiety, stepping into the polished lobby of a downtown office building that was home to one of the city's most esteemed law firms. The receptionist welcomed her with a friendly smile and guided her to a conference room, where a middle-aged lawyer, Mr. Caldwell, was already waiting. "I appreciate your presence, Miss Thompson," he started, motioning for her to take a seat. "Let me be direct. A man named Mr. Harrison recently received your assistance. Do you remember him?" Emma felt a sudden rush of excitement. "Indeed, I assisted him on one particular evening. He found himself without a roof over his head, taking refuge beneath a bridge. What is the reason behind this? Is he all right?" Mr. Caldwell nodded, a gentle warmth spreading across his face. "He's doing okay, or as well as one might anticipate. Before delving deeper, allow me to provide some background on Mr. Harrison. He's a remarkable individual, unlike any other. He is a billionaire who turned his back on his wealth years ago, following a profound personal tragedy. For reasons understood solely by him, he opted to dwell among those who are less fortunate. Emma gazed at him, taken aback. A person with immense wealth. That seems illogical. He possessed nothing. He relinquished everything, Mr. Caldwell elucidated. However, he has recently chosen to take back a part of his assets, not for his own sake, but to pay tribute to someone who illuminated the inherent goodness of humanity. Someone akin to you. As Mr. Caldwell reached into his briefcase, he retrieved a neatly organized stack of documents. Mr. Harrison has bequeathed to you half of his fortune, a token of appreciation for your generosity that evening. Your act of compassion has rekindled his belief in humanity. Emma's hands quivered as she took the papers into her grasp. 50% of his wealth. That's absolutely wild. I didn't engage in anything out of the ordinary. I simply provided him with some food and a scarf. Mr. Caldwell responded softly, acknowledging the impact of your actions in ways you may not fully understand. Your actions held immense significance for him. A handwritten note from Mr. Harrison himself accompanied the legal documents. Emma carefully opened it, her hands trembling, and read, "Dear Emma, I have spent years retreating from the world, believing that humanity had strayed from its path. Yet you appeared, bringing with you a sense of warmth, an abundance of generosity, and an unwavering gaze that refused to turn away. Your words brought to mind that even in our most challenging times, there is always a glimmer of hope if we are willing to recognize it. This present serves as my expression of gratitude, not only for your assistance, but also for rekindling my faith in the potential of others. Utilize it thoughtfully, as I am confident you will. Thank you, Mr. Harrison." Tears welled in Emma's eyes as she held the note tightly against her heart. Unbeknownst to her, that simple gesture of goodwill had woven a deep thread of influence, touching not just Mr. Harrison's life, but also reshaping her own in unexpected ways. As she exited the office, the burden of the revelation enveloped her. This was more than mere currency. It represented a duty, an opportunity to instigate waves of transformation that extended well beyond her initial vision. Unbeknownst to Emma, this was merely the start of her adventure. In the days that followed, her meeting with Mr. Caldwell, Emma found herself grappling with the weight of the experience. Half of a billionaire's fortune, a sum capable of transforming her life and the lives of many others indefinitely, was now in her possession. But instead of exhilaration, she felt inundated. What had she done to warrant such kindness? How could she ever meet the expectations that Mr. Harrison had entrusted to her? Initially, a sense of guilt consumed her. She contemplated giving back the money, considering it something she hadn't truly earned. As she revisited Mr. Harrison's note, his words struck a profound chord within her. "Utilize it thoughtfully, as I trust you will." This transcended mere gifting. It was an invitation, a moment to elevate the compassion he had seen within her. Driven by her convictions, Emma set about devising a strategy. She meticulously examined community needs, pinpointing areas where her resources could create the most significant difference. Her aspiration to establish a community center took precedence, above all else. In just a few months, she acquired a sizable building in a challenged neighborhood, turning it into a lively center of hope and assistance. The center provided complimentary meals, vocational training initiatives, childcare assistance, and educational seminars, all supported by Emma's legacy. Yet Emma's journey didn't end there. Recalling the harsh chill that had compelled her to assist Mr. Harrison, she took the lead in creating a modern homeless shelter, featuring cozy beds, medical assistance, and counseling support. She called it Harrison's Haven, a tribute to the man who had unwittingly transformed her existence. Even with her recent fortune, Emma remained steadfast in her identity. She persisted with her shifts at the diner, discovering comfort in the steady cadence of pouring coffee and engaging in conversation with the familiar faces. For her, maintaining a sense of reality was crucial. It evoked memories of her origins and maintained her bond with the individuals she sought to support. In the meantime, Mr. Harrison set forth on a path toward redemption. Moved by Emma's selflessness, he decided to reach out to his estranged family, rekindling a connection with a daughter he hadn't spoken to in years. United in purpose, they set about overseeing his remaining assets, directing resources towards philanthropic initiatives centered on education, healthcare, and affordable housing. Despite his lack of desire for acknowledgement, rumors of his re-emergence into the public sphere started to spread, depicting him as a withdrawn philanthropist, intent on correcting previous missteps. One evening, as Emma stood in the freshly inaugurated community center, observing the joyful laughter of children and the warmth of families coming together for dinner, she contemplated the journey she had undertaken. What began as a modest gesture of kindness has evolved into something remarkable, a movement driven by appreciation and selflessness. Yet, uncertainties persisted in her thoughts. Where could Mr. Harrison be at this moment? Was he in a secure situation? Had her compassion genuinely transformed his existence? These reflections lingered with her until destiny stepped in again. Months later, Emma found herself holding an invitation to a charity gala, organized by one of her affiliations. As she navigated through the crowd of donors and volunteers, a recognizable silhouette drew her attention from across the room. Harrison stood before us, impeccably dressed in a tailored suit, his once frail frame transformed into one of robust confidence. As their gazes locked, it felt as if the very fabric of time had paused. With careful steps, Mr. Harrison reached out a hand. "Emma," he spoke, his tone unwavering yet brimming with feeling. "It's wonderful to reconnect with you." Emotion flooded Emma's eyes as she grasped his hand. "I didn't think I'd have the chance to see you again," she confessed. "How are you holding up?" He nodded, a subtle smile gracing his lips. "Improved more than I have in years. I appreciate your support." The remainder of the evening was devoted to reconnecting, exchanging tales of how their lives had evolved since that pivotal night beneath the bridge. They both understood that they had rekindled a belief in humanity and in their own potential. As the night drew to a close, Emma was certain of one thing: kindness transcended mere action. It was a continuous loop, perpetually exchanging and embracing, impacting lives in ways that were beyond anyone's foresight. In the years that followed, Emma emerged as a symbol of optimism within her community. Her relentless dedication to elevating those around her garnered her immense respect. Despite her humility, she consistently redirected accolades towards her inspirations, such as Mr. Harrison. The impact of her efforts extended well beyond her wildest dreams. Through job training programs, families discovered a sense of stability, while children chased educational opportunities made possible by scholarships from Harrison's Haven. Numerous lives were changed through access to shelter and healthcare. Emma remained profoundly engaged with the diner, where she had dedicated so many years of her life. Even though the financial aspect was no longer a necessity for her, she valued the bond it provided with ordinary individuals, the very ones she sought to assist. Frequent patrons would often tease that she was the wealthiest server in the area. To them, she was just Emma, friendly, approachable, and consistently offering a cheerful demeanor. In the meantime, Mr. Harrison persisted in his discreet charitable efforts, collaborating with his daughter to restore not just his legacy, but also his connections. United in purpose, they initiated programs aimed at providing affordable housing and mental health support, making certain that their resources were directed towards those who needed them the most. Even with his infrequent appearances at public gatherings, whispers of his kindness ignited a surge of benevolence, motivating others to support the causes they cherished. On a warm summer afternoon, Emma found herself on the bridge where her journey with Mr. Harrison began, a spot now embellished with plaques honoring her contributions and the many lives impacted by Harrison's Haven. As she looked out at the city skyline, she pondered how a single act of kindness had sparked a chain of events. A familiar voice echoed behind her, praising her remarkable achievements. As she turned, her gaze fell upon Mr. Harrison, who was making his way toward her with a steady and assured stride. As time passed, he not only restored his health but also rediscovered his sense of purpose. "Indeed you have," Emma responded with a gentle warmth. "You transformed my entire existence. Your words brought to light the immense strength that compassion holds." In a serene pause, they observed the gentle current of the river meandering below. Both understood that their meeting that winter night was destined, not merely a chance encounter. It served as a poignant reminder that each individual harbors untold narratives, and even the most modest actions can ignite significant transformation. As the sun sank beneath the horizon, bathing the city in a warm golden glow, Emma smiled gently. She reflected on the countless lives they had influenced together and understood that their legacies would persist long after their departure. "Thank you," Mr. Harrison finally spoke, shattering the stillness, "for reminding me that goodness still exists in this world." "And thank you," Emma replied, her voice calm and filled with appreciation, "for having faith in me when I struggled to have faith in myself." As they strolled away from the bridge, they understood that their adventure extended beyond mere acts of generosity. The focus was on motivating others to follow suit. By doing this, they guaranteed that kindness would keep spreading, reaching hearts and transforming lives for many generations ahead. Emma frequently reflected on the ripple effect initiated by her small gesture of goodwill during that chilly winter evening. Assisting Mr. Harrison felt like a natural response, an instinctive act of compassion that she hadn't deeply contemplated in that moment. However, it had changed both of their lives in ways they could never have predicted. The city appeared transformed, radiating a new vibrancy and a sense of unity. The shelters had shed their overcrowded nature, children walked into schools filled with aspirations for brighter tomorrows, and families discovered a sense of stability. Through the initiatives crafted by Emma and Mr. Harrison, their collaboration demonstrated that even individuals who felt shattered could reconstruct not only their own existence, but also positively impact the lives of others. As Emma found herself again on the bridge where it all started, she understood the profound strength of empathy. It wasn't about elaborate displays or immense wealth. It was about perceiving another person, genuinely perceiving them, and making the decision to care. Every gesture, be it a scarf given to a cold stranger or a generous tip left for a waitress, held the power to transform the world. Mr. Harrison's last words resonated within her thoughts, reminding her that goodness still existed in this world, and thanks to individuals like Emma and Mr. Harrison, it always would. Years later, when inquired about her legacy, Emma offered a gentle smile. "It doesn't belong to me," she'd insist. "It is for all who decide to share, to assist, to believe."